It's
So what is that first business you looked at and you decided on? How many times did you visit, drive to there and meet the owner and like develop in this relationship
yeah,
and making sure that, he looked into your eyes and goes, I like this guy. He's going to continue my legacy. I think,
yeah,
and take care of my employees.
yeah, yeah. So we met. I think we met three times at length. So kind of a first visit, and then brought my wife back for the second one, and then a third one we did a couple of deep dives throughout probably a 2 3 hour period, and then we met not at that place, but as we progressed down, met them for coffee a couple of times, met some of the key customers, met some of the key employees, et cetera, so that it wasn't interrupting per se the day-to-day operations, but at the same time, had this plan and this path of what direction they were comfortable with us going, as well as that we were comfortable with doing it. And so it's an interesting story because we actually, our bid was $1 million under what the top bid was. So
Oh,
we,
so it was getting multiple bids. I would,
oh yeah, there's 50 some bids on the facility within the first, I think, 3 weeks, 4 weeks being on the market with LOIs, I should say.
wow, that's a lot of bids. I mean, I, coming from California and you look at all these technology companies,
Right.
you would think that a foundry would just sit there for months and months and months going, yeah,
Now, yeah, now they would. Different story, 5 6 years. I mean, there's a lot of businesses. I think I mean there's a lot of foundries. It's really hard to do business in California for foundries simply
oh
because
yeah,
of some of the environmental and whatnot. But yeah, the highest number of foundries, the biggest concentration in the country is between the Rust Belt and California. Big thing out there, California way is aerospace. We're just choosing. I don't want to deal with the government regulations. We will not be buying a foundry in California.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't need that headache in my life. We've got enough of them as it is.
yeah. Well, so what do you think convinced the seller to go with you and $1 million under other bids?
Yeah, there's two things. One was obviously the relationship that had to get developed. I think people, especially if you're going to buy a small business, that tends to be very rare that people understand that it is about the relationship. This is their baby. They've probably worked in it since they were a kid, or the business may have been around before they were. They knew all the customers, all the employees. They've been to weddings and graduations and funerals and whatnot, and they, especially if they've owned it for 30, 40 years, they've got plenty of money. It's less about the money and it's more about continuing a legacy and ensuring all of their folks are taken care of. And on the other side, um, he understood, the seller, that if we would have done as an individual financer of what some of the other bids were in lean years, we would have had a real problem dealing with debt service. So he went and penciled it out and kind of said, all right, well, I kind of understand, roughly speaking, what your payments are going to be. And I understand what bad years may occur. And we don't want you to have to do anything dumb, cutting workers, firing workers, or, cutting costs and hurting kind of the brand and the legacy, or you personally having a problem. So, we're rather like, we agree your number, we understand how you got there, and we agree with the concept that this protects you from the downside and protects our business for the long term.
Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you're a subscriber by clicking on this button right here down below. And if you want to watch more serial acquirer interviews, click on this button right here. If you're ready to buy your first business, get my course at dealflowsystem.net right here. Take care. Cheers, John.